Hey everyone, it's Celeste, and today I'm going to film the BookTube Numbers Tag. I saw this on Alex Black Reads. She did this tag, and she didn't tag me, but you know, I don't need to be tagged. If I see a tag I want to do, I do it. So here I go. And I'll have her link down below, and I'll have yeah, like the original maker of the tag is also going to be linked down below with a link to his video. So there's that. Giving credit where credit is due. Okay, cool. So let's get started. I'm going to be using my phone. Here he is. I'm going to be using my phone to look at the questions because I just snapped a pic of, I just snapped a pic of the questions. So I'm just going to read them off of my phone, and I've went ahead and like looked at them so that I have an idea what I'm talking about here. Okay, so the first question is, what was your first BookTube video? So looking back, I've had a YouTube account since I think 2013, but I was using it for school, like while I was in like college, I think. College stuff mostly, or just because, you know, I didn't start filming for BookTube until July 14th, 2016. So I've been on BookTube a full 6 years, but what's happened on those 6 years is like sometimes I'll when I went through my divorce, I went through a big hiatus and didn't film anything for a while, right? Like, or if my mental health dips or I got busy with like other life stuff, I would just like kind of not film. So there are some spots where there's like big gaps between where I have content. But yeah, I've been doing this for 6 years. So I went back and watched the BookTube intro. I'll go ahead and link it. It's 6 minutes. Well, it's almost 7 minutes, and it's out of focus, and the sound is wonky, and I'm rambling like I normally do, but I think it's like worse, like nervous rambling. But I think it was pretty much, it kind of made me nostalgic for that like reddish hair color that I was rocking back then. So I saw that and was like, I think I missed that hair. No, I don't. Because if I change my hair color, then it changes some aspects of like my makeup and stuff. So I'm going to keep this dark hair for now. But yeah, so that's what's going on with that. Like, it's just kind of cringe to me, but it's not bad, I guess. I don't know. You can watch it and tell me what you think. Okay, so question number 2. How many books are you currently reading? So as we sit here right now, I think I'm reading 5 or 6 books. And I've talked about this a lot on my channel, but for those of you who don't know, like, I'm one of those like non-monogamous book reading people. I almost never read just one book because a lot of times I'm reading a book for different formats. So as an example, I'll listen to an audiobook in my car during my commute. I'll read something in Kindle Unlimited. I will have a book of the month book going. I will have, you know, some other book going. Maybe it's nonfiction or poetry. Generally, they're different genres, but I almost always have like 5 or 6 books going at the same time. So that's me. Number 3. What were the top 3 books you read last year? So I went back and looked at my Goodreads for 2021 and looked at my 5-star books, and then I looked at, among those 5-star books, what were the top 3? And so the top 3 for me, the top one I would say is The Death of Vivek Oji by Akwaeke Emezi. It is amazing. It was a book of the month book for me, and it's beautiful. It deals with family dynamics. It deals with gender identity. It deals with the repercussions of a government that doesn't allow you to be truly who you are. It's really hard hitting, but it was the best book that I read last year. I also loved We Sold Our Souls by Grady Hendrix. Grady Hendrix is one of my auto-buy authors. He's an author that I just really love his writing. We Sold Our Souls is about a rock band, and someone sells their soul to the devil, I guess, to be successful as a rock band, and there are, you know, repercussions for that. And so it was amazing. Grady Hendrix's writing is such that when you're writing about like music, right, it can be really difficult because there's sort of the sound component. Oh, I think it was really, really well done. I really enjoyed it. It is a fun ride. And it's kind of one of his underhyped. I don't know. And then the other top book is the first of the Mistborn trilogy, The Final Empire. I've read from Brandon Sanderson before. But this was like, I think his first longer work, you know, part of the longer works that I had ever read. Like some of the other things that I had read from him were more for like YA or children. And it was great. Great epic fantasy. He paces it really well. Great characters. So yeah. So I feel like that spread of like my top 3 books kind of gives you like this idea of like what kind of books I'm into, right? Like really well written, hard hitting literary fiction, and then fun paranormal stuff, and then, you know, exciting paranormal stuff, and then high fantasy. Okay. So let's look at question number 4. Question number 4 says, how many books did you read last year? Easy. 118. So last year, I tied with 2020 and I read 118 books. I'm actually running a little ahead of schedule this year, so I might read more than that this year. Maybe. We'll see how the fall goes. The fall, you know, when school starts up, who knows? Like, it's a crapshoot. Who knows? But yeah, I had a pretty good reading year last year. Number 5. How many books have you rated as 5 stars this year? So far as we sit here this year in 2022, I've rated 12 books as 5-star, which seems like a lot. And you're like, Celeste, you're 5-starring everything. Well, to put it in perspective, right now as I sit here, I've read 80 books. So I've only 5-starred 12 books out of the 80 that I have read this year so far. So I feel like looking at it from that perspective, I'm really picky. Like, the book has to be something like really special, touching, something. I don't know, like, there's different ways, but it has to be something in order for me to give it 5 stars. I'm kind of like, whenever I was training at a summer institute for like AP English, and we had to calibrate ourselves. I calibrated as 1 degree mean. So what that meant is that I would score 1 level below what the scoring turned out for AP. So I was 1 degree mean, and I think that translates in like a lot of parts of my life. I'm 1 degree mean. So, so that was question number 5. Let's look at question number 6. Question number 6. Do you have a reading target for this year? Are you on track? So my reading target, I just set my goal for number of books read at 100. Like, that's just my goal now. The past 2 years, I've read more than 100 in a year, but there's been other years where I read far less than 100. So I feel like that's a reasonable goal. And I am on track. Like I just mentioned, I have read 80 books this year. So I'm sitting here in July having read 80 books. And yeah, so like at this point last year, I think I had only read like 60 something books. So that's more. So yeah, I am on track. Yeah. And I do set a goal. I do set other goals, but I have specific goal videos for that as far as like types of things that I read and like page counts and like representation issues, and yeah, so that's a whole other kit and caboodle, right? Okay, question number 7. How many pages long is the book you are reading now? That's tricky because like I mentioned, I read 5 or 6 books at a time. So they're different lengths. 2 of the books that I'm reading right now are over 400 pages. Like I think they're both closer to 500 pages than 400 pages. Like they're like over 450. And then I think the rest of the things that I'm reading are like over 300 pages. So I would say that the length of the things that I'm reading at this moment is between 300 and 500 pages. Although sometimes I do read shorter things. Like if you asked me this question like a week ago, I was reading some like romance stuff that was like way shorter. Like sometimes the Kindle Unlimited stuff is really short. So, you know, whatever. It fluctuates. Number 8. How long are your videos? So for this question, I went back to like my creator content page and I scrolled through and looked at the length of my videos, and generally, and they're different because sometimes I have unboxings and sometimes I have chats. They pretty much vary between 10 and 20 minutes. And then if I do a vlog, of course, yeah, vlogs are longer, like duh, that's like kind of the nature of the beast on that. So videos that aren't vlogs are generally between 10 and 20 minutes, and vlogs are over 30 minutes. I don't think I have anything that's over an hour though. Like that's a lot of footage to edit and that's a long video. I haven't done that yet. So, I don't know. Number 9. Question number 9. Do you have a favorite number? My favorite number is 25. So, I like the number 25. I don't know. I've just always kind of been drawn to that number, like, since I was a kid. So, I don't know. I just like that number. Just makes me happy. I don't know. And then finally, the last question. Do you have a book on your shelves with a number in the title or on the cover? And when I was thinking about this, I was like, oh yeah, sure I do. And then I was like, oh, I unhauled that book. Oh, so not too long ago, I read The One by John Mars using my Audible account. So that book exists on my digital Audible shelf, okay? In my Kindle, I read earlier this year Second First Impressions, which those aren't like numbers, but they represent numbers. So, like, that was on my Kindle. So that's on my digital Kindle shelf. Physically on my shelf, I have a lot of books. I think... Shoot. Oh, I have a copy of One to Watch by, what's her name? Shoot, I can't remember. I think her last name's London. It's like a romance bachelor retelling. It was one of my Book of the Month books, and it's in my read section of my shelves. In my unread section of my shelves, physically, I have many books. One that I can think of that has a number is The 13th Sign, which is like a YA that has to do with like astrology, I think. I don't know. I haven't read it because it's in the unread section of myself. So there's that. Okay, cool. So that's the tag. I made it through all the numbers in the tag. I'm not going to tag people specifically because some of the people that I watch the most have either A, done the tag like Alex, or B, are sort of, maybe they don't do tags, or maybe they're sort of like summary and they're not as active as they usually would be. So I'll say this, if you watch this video and you want to do this tag, go ahead and do this tag. I think it's pretty interesting to kind of like think about some of these different questions. So yeah, that's it. If you liked my video, please consider giving me a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed and you would like to see more content from me, please consider subscribing. Maybe hitting the notification bell. I don't know. I sometimes will take a break because of life things, but I try. That's all I can, that's all I can say about it. I try. So anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.